gonna do for you today is flank steak, and I'm gonna do it with a balsamic glaze and finish that all off and pair it with my maple sweet potato mash and some lemon garlic asparagus spears. It'll be a wonderful family meal, simple, easy, but we're also gonna grill that flank steak after I marinate it. So let's get cooking. I minced my shallot and my garlic, and I'm going to just kind of sweat those a little bit, just kind of release some of their flavors and aromatics. I'm not getting like caramelized color. I just want to gently saute and get more of a softened, beautiful flavor coming out of those shallots. And then they add the garlic in after the shallots have sweated. So I just got a little bit of light olive oil here, and just enough to coat the bottom of your pan. And it's not a high heat, but it's a light olive oil, so you can get away with a little bit of light saute. So after that comes up to a temp there, yep, I can hear it sizzle. That's what we want. So I'm gonna add those shallots in. And if you've watched any of my other shows, I have a show called Shelly's Game Kitchen on Carbon TV, but I talk about layering of the flavors. And if you season each layer, you won't have to season so much at the end. Plus, you're really developing those layers that you're building upon. So it's really important, in my opinion, to season as you go and kind of develop all of those. So I'm going to manage my heat a little bit here. I have a high heat spatula, which is my favorite tool in the kitchen, just because I can get in there and it's not going to melt. Some of those other ones that aren't high heat, they actually melt. And I'll never forget one of the times at the restaurant. I had a cook who was making a dip, and we sauteed off things and added like cream cheese and sour cream and so forth. Well, he was using a white non-high heat spatula, and long story short, we had to throw the whole batch out because he melted that plastic in with all of that cream cheese, and he couldn't find it. And of course I'm not going to give my customers plastic dip. So those are softened enough there. I'm going to add my garlic in there. We had 10 years at the restaurant, so I got a lot of crazy stories from back then. a lot of people, so much good times, and I miss the customers, and that's kind of why I went into private chefing, because a lot of my former customers at the restaurant said, "Oh my gosh, we miss you so much, and will you come cook for us?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do that." So that's kind of what spurred into this next little, my latest venture of being a private chef and TV host now. So I've got that garlic in there. I'm going to add some balsamic vinegar, and if you heat there a little bit. And I'm just going to kind of deglaze with that vinegar and pull up all of those beautiful sooks that are on there with that shallot. And then I'm also going to add some soy sauce. And don't worry, there is a recipe I'm going to include with this on the website with DeBrucker Charolais Meats. They'll have it all on there. So that was Worcestershire. And now I'm going to go in with some blackstrap molasses. So many times when you do a marinade, they'll want you to add sugar or whatnot. I like to do molasses or maple syrup, honey. Those are kind of better things, in my opinion, than just straight sugar, because you're getting so many other wonderful things in that blackstrap molasses or the maple syrup. There's other layers of flavor. I just love that aspect. So now I'm just going to let that kind of simmer for like 2 minutes, and then we're going to completely shut off the heat and let this completely cool. Our beautiful flank steak is marinating wonderfully, and I'm going to preserve that marinade. So what we're gonna do is actually reduce that marinade down. So once the meat is done marinating, let's preserve all of that. And I just kind of kept my pan, and I'm gonna put the marinade back in there and reduce it down. And then we're gonna blister some tomatoes in there. So let me tell you how I prepped this. So all I did was all of these grape tomatoes, I just wanna score just a little bit. I'm just gonna score that much, and that's it. What it's doing is it's allowing the juices and so forth to come out of that tomato sooner, and it's helping it to macerate without completely decimating the tomato, because I want to have the integrity of the tomato there. It's adding a wonderful balance of acid to this reduced marinade, because remember, it's a balsamic marinade, and when you reduce balsamic vinegar down, it gets really rich and decadent. So we want to relieve the palate with a little bit of acid. And the tomatoes, we're going to kind of blister them and pop them in there when we're reducing that down. Is going to be a beautiful pairing with that. So anyways, let's get back to our asparagus here. So what I've done is I have diced up or minced up 2 cloves of garlic, and then also slivered a little bit of shallot. And so what I'm gonna do is toss all of this with a little bit of, my oil's over here, a little bit of olive oil, and then I'm going to toss everything together with a pinch of fresh cracked pepper, and always salt, a little pinch of salt, and then we're just gonna toss all of these things. And when they're done, I'm gonna put them in the oven. We're gonna roast them at probably, I'm gonna do like 400 degrees for about 10 minutes. And the reason is I'm doing 400 is because they're bigger stems. If they're those really, what we call pencil thin ones, don't do them at 400. 350 for 8 to 10 minutes is max. So I'm gonna do it this way, and then pop these in the oven and toss them all. And when I bring them out, when they're done, I'm gonna finish them with some a fresh squeezed lemon, half of a lemon, kind of the juice of half of a lemon, and then the zest from the whole lemon. And we'll toss it with that roasted garlic and shallot. It's gonna be perfect pairing with that maple sweet potato mash. And the sweet potatoes are in the oven right now. So again, 400 degrees. It's probably gonna be an hour, hour and a half, depending on the size of your sweet potato. And then we'll bring those out, and I'll actually put them on the stovetop with some butter and maple syrup. Again, salt and pepper. And I always taste everything before I finish, and really make sure that you've got the right flavors. So keep watching, and we'll get everything plated and put together. So what I'm doing here is I'm just gonna kind of family style plate. You can see all of those. I wanna keep those wonderful bits of garlic and shallot and top those on top of there. I am going to finish it. Remember, I said I was gonna finish it with just a little squeeze of fresh lemon juice. It just makes, if you've not done fresh lemon juice on your vegetables, it makes them so much more tasty. So I really challenge you to try it. And then we want to have some fresh zest of the lemon. So perfect. And I've got my maple sweet potato mash there. And how I did that was I finished it in a pan with a little butter and maple syrup, and then used an immersion blender and blended it all together to make a really beautiful puree. And then added a little extra fresh cracked pepper, because the sweetness really works well when you pair it off that fresh cracked pepper. Now I've got my flank steak here. I grilled it, got some beautiful grill marks. And then make sure you know which direction the grain is going, and you want to cut opposite of that. So I'm just gonna start slicing into this. I let it rest for a good time. What I do is I put it on a sheet pan and cover it with tin foil and let it rest. And any resting juices I actually added back into that reduced marinade with the tomatoes. So it turned out amazing. I can't wait for you to try this recipe. So you can find the link below. And really, if you want to learn more about this wonderful program that DeBrucker Charolais have, go to debruckercharolais.com and read about the multi-generational program they have. Totally grass-fed in Dutton, Montana, and then grain finished, and then dry aged. So this is real deal, wonderful, and I don't know if you can see the beautiful, oh, it's perfect. It is perfect. I am so happy. So my way of doing this, I will usually do hot grilled, super hot grilled, and then I put the meat on there kind of at an angle, and I leave it alone for like 2 minutes. And then after 2 minutes on that hot grill, I lift it up, and that's when I'll flip it over on the other side, and then I'll cook that one for another 2 minutes. And then kind of depending on how much done you like, I will go a little bit farther or with another quarter turn flip or whatnot. But if it's done to your liking, which mine is, then pull it off and let it rest. Letting it rest is a huge part of that. So I'm just gonna continue and slice this up, and then we're gonna plate it, and then I'm gonna taste everything because I need to make sure my family's gonna be happy. Plus we need to make sure our seasoning's right. So keep watching. That looks amazing. And trust me, I tasted this, and the tomatoes is one of those things that really, really, really makes this that next level. So don't leave that out. And then I'm just gonna garnish with a little bit of fresh chopped parsley. And parsley does more than just color. Parsley actually adds that herbaceous little palate pop. So it's an important part, even though it's a lot of times people just use it for color. I'm using it to help kind of bring all of those flavors together. So I'm gonna take a little taste of this, and I'm so excited. But I'm gonna get a little tomato, a little sauce on there as well. Get a little asparagus. Need to get a spoon for my puree. Maybe I'll just use that. Awesome. Okay, I don't want to spoil my dinner, but I need to know that this tastes good. So let's dig in. I'm just so pleased. Oh, so tender. Wow. When you get that beautiful quality meat, it just makes every bite more flavorful. And the beef, the quality of the beef, you can really tell from the very first bite and cut. This is a flank steak, and I know I marinated it for an hour, but it's still, because it's dry aged, so this bite is absolutely tender, even though it's a flank steak. So you can really easily feed a family of 4 here or more. I mean, that is a 2-pound flank. That could go for probably 5 or even 6, depending on. So enjoy. Go to buydcmeats.com and get you some DeBrucker Charolais from Dutton, Montana. My family's gonna be happy. Yes, love it.